I still remember the way she stood at my door that evening, holding an old envelope with shaking hands. Her eyes were tired but determined, like she had practiced this moment 100 times and still wasn't ready. When she finally spoke, her voice cracked. "I came to repay my father's debt," she said. I had no idea that those 7 words were about to change both of our lives forever. Before we continue, take a quick second to support the channel. If stories about kindness, humanity, and unexpected connections move you, please subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment sharing your thoughts. It truly helps the channel grow and reach more hearts. You're watching Your Channel Name, and now let's begin the story. The debt had started years earlier, back when my life looked very different. I owned a small grocery store on the corner of a quiet neighborhood street. It wasn't fancy, but it paid the bills and gave me a sense of purpose. I knew most of my customers by name. We talked about weather, kids, sports, and sometimes about life when things got heavy. One rainy afternoon, a man I barely knew came into the store. He looked exhausted, soaked from the storm, and clearly embarrassed to even be standing there. He picked up a loaf of bread and a can of soup, then hesitated at the counter. His hands trembled as he admitted he had lost his job and didn't have enough money to pay. Something about him reminded me of my own father, who had struggled when I was young. Without thinking too much, I told him to take the food. I even added a few extra items. He tried to refuse, his eyes filling with tears, but I insisted. Before leaving, he promised he would repay me someday. I honestly forgot about it. Life moved on, as it always does. Years passed. The store survived tough times, then better ones, then tough again. Eventually, I sold it and moved into a quieter life. I never saw that man again, and I never expected to, until his daughter showed up at my door. She explained that her father had passed away a few months earlier. While sorting through his belongings, she found a small notebook. Inside, he had written reminders to himself, doctor appointments, grocery lists, and one line, underlined twice, "Repay the kindness." The store owner. She had spent weeks tracking me down. She told me how her father used to talk about that rainy day, how a stranger helped him when he felt invisible. She said that moment gave him hope during one of the darkest times of his life. Then she handed me the envelope. Inside was cash, more than what the groceries had cost back then. I didn't know what to say. My throat tightened, and for a moment, I couldn't speak at all. I told her she didn't owe me anything, that her father's promise had been enough. But she shook her head. She said repaying the debt mattered to him, and now it mattered to her. That's when I noticed something else. She looked thin, not unhealthy, but worn down. Her clothes were clean but old. Her shoes had holes near the soles, and when I asked where she was staying, she hesitated just a second too long. She finally admitted she had nowhere permanent. After her father died, medical bills swallowed what little savings they had. She'd been sleeping on friends' couches, sometimes in her car. Without planning it, the words came out of my mouth. "Then would you like to stay?" Her eyes widened in shock. She thought she had misheard me. I explained that I had a spare room. Nothing fancy but warm. I told her it would only be temporary, just until she found her footing. She started crying. Not loud, dramatic crying. Just silent tears, the kind that come from holding everything together for too long. The first few weeks were awkward. We were strangers learning how to share space. She insisted on helping around the house, cleaning, cooking, and fixing small things that I had ignored for years. Slowly, the house felt alive again. At night, we talked. She told me stories about her father, how proud he was of her, how he used to say kindness was the only thing that truly lasted. I told her about my own mistakes, my regrets, and the quiet loneliness that had followed me since retirement. One evening, she admitted something that stayed with me. She said that when she came to repay the debt, she expected rejection. She expected a closed door. She just wanted to honor her father and walk away. Instead, she found another chance. Over time, she found a job at a local library. It wasn't glamorous, but she loved it. She started smiling more, laughing more. The heaviness in her eyes slowly lifted. Months passed. Then one day she told me she had saved enough to move out. I felt a strange mix of pride and sadness. The house had become quieter again, but this time it didn't feel empty. Before she left, she gave me a small framed photo. It was a picture of her father standing outside my old grocery store, smiling. On the back she had written, "Your kindness became our survival." After she moved out, we stayed in touch. Holidays, birthdays, life updates. She started volunteering, helping others the way she once needed help herself. Sometimes, I think about how close we both came to missing that moment. If I had ignored her knock, if I had taken the money and closed the door, if I had treated kindness like a transaction instead of a bridge. That rainy day at the grocery store had felt small at the time. Just a few groceries, a simple decision. But kindness has a way of echoing far beyond the moment it's given. It changes people. It changes paths. Sometimes, it comes back in ways you never expect. I didn't just help a man in need that day. I unknowingly planted a seed that grew into something far bigger than myself, and all she wanted to do was repay a debt. In the end, kindness didn't just settle a balance. It created a family where none existed before. So if you ever wonder whether a small act matters, remember this. You may never see the full story, but somewhere, someone is carrying your kindness forward, waiting for the right moment to pass it on. Let that be the reason you choose compassion today, because kindness, once given, never truly disappears.